Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Trebas Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
An atmospheric river has touched ground in San Diego. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Triple C. This may be the holiday year to stay home. KPBS environment reporter Tammy Murga says the storm brings the possibility of flooding and a drop in temperatures.
A powerful winter storm could make this Christmas season in California one of the wettest in years. Light rain began drenching the region this morning, but San Diegans can expect the heaviest downpours and strong winds by early tomorrow morning. San Diego and most of the state are under a flood watch until Wednesday night. Floods have already claimed the life of at least one person in Northern California.
Slow down and give yourself more time. That's probably the most important message is last minute doesn't work when it's raining.
Heiser leads the city's emergency services office. He says if you're traveling or doing some last-minute holiday shopping,
pay attention. When the signs say, don't enter, flooded, don't enter.
Heiser says city crews have been clearing storm channels over the past months, and they'll be monitoring nearly 50,000 storm drains throughout the storm. The prep work continued this morning, and it wasn't just for street flooding. Charles Knight is with the city's fire rescue department. He says rescue units are ready for deployment in case of any coastal or river emergencies.
These are comprised of highly trained swiftwater rescue technicians that are going to be able to handle any type of fast-moving water incident or flood incident that takes place throughout this rain event.
The National Weather Service predicts lighter rain for Friday and Saturday. The county could get up to 2.5 inches of rain by Christmas Day. Tammy Murga, KPBS News.
Evacuations are planned in Southern California due to the potential for more than a month's worth of rain and powerful winds. As Michael Yoshida reports, it comes after a deadly storm over the weekend brought intense flooding to the northern part of the state.
On the heels of deadly flooding in Northern California, a new wave of powerful storms are set to bring heavy rain, snow, and strong winds to the West Coast.
We'd like to tell everybody have an emergency plan.
Starting early Wednesday morning, Southern California is expected to receive torrential rain that will continue through the night. A rare level 4 of 4 risk of flooding rain is in place, potentially impacting millions, according to the Weather Prediction Center. In some areas, rainfall rates could exceed 1 inch per hour.
Don't attempt to cross flooded areas and never enter moving water on foot or on vehicle.
Threats of flash flooding and mudslides leading to evacuation orders and warnings, including across Los Angeles County and the Eaton and Palisades fire zones.
It's scary. It's really scary.
Preparations underway, where January's deadly LA fires scorched the earth, making it less able to absorb water and more prone to debris and mud flows.
Seeing how all the foliage and shrubbery has just burned away, yeah. They need to keep an eye on that.
It's changed significantly in the last 2 storms. So this one, we're just getting ready for whatever, whatever happens.
Strong winds will add to the danger, potentially bringing down trees and power lines. The concern doesn't stop there. Another storm will follow on Christmas Day and into Friday, bringing more heavy rain to Southern California and feet of snow farther north in the Sierra Nevada, likely making travel difficult or impossible at times. In Washington, Michael Yoshida.
Well, the rain is already underway. We've had rain for much of the day, but it will increase in intensity as we step deeper into Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Soaking rain moving in. Through the day tomorrow, we have drenching rain through the region. And overall, the heaviest rain will be to our north, so the greatest flood threat is going to be up into the areas around the north side of the Los Angeles Basin, up into Ventura County, but we've got issues here locally as well. Flood watches and wind advisories in effect. We'll have your full forecast coming up.
Nationwide, there are more than 68,000 people in immigration detention centers, an all-time record. KPBS reporter Gustavo Solis says an undocumented surfer detained in Otay Mesa is among the majority who won't see their families on the Christmas holiday.
On August 24th, Tambra Sanders Kirk got a phone call from a random 619 number. She ignored it, thinking it was spam. But the caller left a voicemail, which she instantly recognized as her boyfriend of 18 years, Hagop Kirinian.
He said, I got picked up by ICE. I need to talk to you. Answer the phone when I call. And I was like, okay. So I actually called the number back to see if it was really the ICE number, and it was. And I waited and waited by the phone all night. He never called back till the next day.
ICE agents arrested Kirinian at Camp Pendleton. He'd gone on an early morning surf trip and accidentally wandered onto the beach within the military base. Military police issued him a trespassing ticket and called ICE. It's been more than 120 days since Kirinian's arrest, and he says that he still has not been given a bond hearing or a court date.
So then he started really getting depressed at that point because he has no court hearing. He's just sitting there doing nothing. There's no resolution in the future.
KPBS interviewed Kirinian, who's still in custody, earlier this month. He describes the Otay Mesa Detention Center as a dark and depressing place.
ICE did not talk to me for the first 2.5 months. Nobody came and said a word to me for 2.5 months, actually. It kind of feels like there's no love anymore, for the detainees. The ICE is doing like whatever they want, really.
A spokesperson for ICE did not immediately respond to a KPBS request for comment. Kirinian says that he came to the country legally more than 50 years ago from Lebanon. He was a permanent resident until 2005. That's when he lost his legal status because of a felony drug conviction. And for the last 20 years, Kirinian has checked in with ICE agents every year. Sanders Kirk says that he has a work permit, pays taxes, and has not gotten into any more trouble with the law.
And he's done everything they've asked. And there's thousands of people that are doing everything asked of them. They just didn't always come here legally, but they aren't criminals. They're just regular people out there working jobs.
She won't be able to see Kirinian on Christmas Day. That's because the Otay Mesa Detention Center only allows visitations on Sunday, and only for an hour. She plans to drive down from her home in San Bernardino. Gustavo Solis, KPBS News.
Also this holiday season, many immigrant families are staying home, not by choice, but out of fear. KPBS health reporter Heidi DeMarco says as immigration enforcement ramps up, health experts warn the isolation is causing what could have lasting consequences.
For some immigrant families, this holiday season is marked by isolation, not because they want to be alone, but because fear of immigration enforcement is keeping them inside. UCSD psychiatrist Dr. Sean Singh Sidhu compares the moment to another public health crisis.
We've seen how much COVID has impacted kids and families. Now imagine another COVID, if you will, for certain populations that lasts 4 years.
A new survey from KFF and the New York Times shows that about 41% of immigrants say they worry that they or someone in their family could be detained or deported. That's up from 26% just 2 years ago. Sidhu says fear is cutting people off from the very things that help them cope.
So when people are feeling so scared that they can't go out, they can't spend time with people that they care about, they can't go to work, they can't go to school, all of that identity and that resilience gets stripped away.
He says the consequences are already showing up.
We are living in truly unprecedented times in which people really do feel like they're not able to leave their home.
Sidhu worries the impact could last well beyond the holidays.
The damage from the first pandemic really is something that we're still struggling to overcome and will continue to for several years. I don't think it's an overstatement to say that what some of these families are going through in the next 4 years may end up having really lifelong implications for them.
For now, he says, even small acts of connection matter, especially in a season meant for gathering.
This holiday season, not to see them as different or other or less human than we are, but to open our hearts, open our communities, open our homes, so that people can feel like they actually are able to celebrate this and be a part of our community and feel welcome.
Heidi DeMarco, KPBS News.
I'm William Brangham. Tonight on the NewsHour, a look at what's in the latest release of the Epstein files, including mentions of President Trump. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
The rising cost of living in San Diego remained a big theme this year, and those quality of life issues go beyond a budget sheet at City Hall. Here are some stories that generated intense debates and mobilized community activism in 2025.
The city was forced to turn over all of the stones, find every penny of revenue that they could.
We could be headed for the biggest budget standoff in 20 years in the city of San Diego. It all has to do with cuts the mayor is proposing to parks, libraries, public restrooms, and more.
It wasn't a huge surprise to me, and the fact that it all sort of came to a head this year was somewhat predictable because we've seen such high inflation and it just reached a breaking point.
I cannot in good conscience allow a budget built on shaky assumptions to move forward.
Where the city leadership couldn't keep on papering over these budget deficits with one-time resources. They really had to confront it head on, and they still are, in fact.
Those premium parking spots will get more expensive during Padres games. The city will start charging for parking in Balboa Park. The city and zoo have been negotiating over paid parking for months.
You might go out to eat at a restaurant and spend more than $100 on the bill, but if you have to pay $5 for parking, that's really, really going to get you mad. I can recall once the mayor, Todd Gloria, saying in an interview that he would rather talk about taxes than parking because people care more deeply about parking than they do about taxes. And I think that's true. People have a really emotional response to these changes.
That's not a free market. That's not innovation. It is digital collusion, and it needs to be stopped.
It was such a rich story and got so many people activated and interested. It touches on so many things that people are feeling very deeply. Rising rents, artificial intelligence, and corporate interests and machines being the ones that are actually determining how much you pay in rent.
About 50 neighbors have begun to organize. They created a petition this month that has over 500 signatures. They said they would consider legal action.
This has turned us into activists, and it's been really beautiful bringing our community together for something that we all believe in. We know how special Encanto is.
I have been really struck by how these neighborhoods have organized. I think they're gaining momentum in a way that's going to be really interesting to keep an eye on as future issues come up. I think they've gained some steam and really some power.
At the end of the meeting, she announced middle school grades would stay.
Please, no, we're not touching the phone.
I feel great, and I'm so happy that we get to have the middle schoolers staying.
Just the eruption of applause in the room when Superintendent Bagula announced that middle school would stay was a really great moment.
The translated agendas will be required starting next summer.
I would say that's power. Now community has the power to be involved. Not only the power to be involved, but also to demand for more.
You're going to have a voice in the process. You're going to be able to hear and to see for yourself what's happening and what's going on.
With holiday travel in full swing, health may be a concern as holiday crowds increase a risk for spreading germs. Mandy Gaither has advice from a doctor on how to stay healthy during this busy time of the year.
It's the happiest and busiest time of year, and if you're celebrating the holiday with others or traveling this season, you're at increased risk of catching a winter virus.
We are going to be inside a lot more, especially a lot of places right now. The weather outside, as the song says, is frightful.
Infectious diseases Dr. Jared Fox with Orlando Health says during winter months, we have to watch out for respiratory viruses like COVID-19, flu, RSV, and human metapneumovirus, which causes symptoms similar to a cold. Then there's GI bugs like norovirus.
We see it most commonly in the winter months as more people are gathering indoors.
Fox says to avoid touching your face and wash hands frequently to protect yourself. And he says to make sure you're up to date on vaccinations, which can prevent severe illness.
Influenza vaccine, our COVID-19 vaccine, getting our boosters, especially for the immunocompromised and the elderly. And the RSV vaccine as well for the older population, our pneumococcal vaccine as well.
If you're traveling by airplane or other public transportation, Fox says wearing a mask can help decrease risk, especially if you're seated next to someone you don't know. And if you're sick this holiday season, help stop the spread of germs by staying home.
We're going to have more people inside. You're going to be exposed. So doing everything that we can to lessen that so we don't have to miss out on our holiday gatherings that we enjoy.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Even though Santa can see you when you're sleeping and knows when you're awake, he still needs help from his elves. Elf on the Shelf was created 20 years ago. And since then, more than 31 million Scout elves, elf pets, and elf mates have been sold, according to the Luna Stella Company. Ivan Rodriguez reports on how it all began and what it means for families today.
For hundreds of years, it's been a big secret.
This Christmas, there's a new tradition for Diana Zito and her family.
It now can be shared if you promise to keep it.
His name is Doodles, their elf on the shelf.
My mom thought of it, and she thought it would be a good name.
The Zitos welcomed Doodles into their home after being inspired by the elves in their son Luca's school. The elves are set up in different scenarios daily to help Santa monitor who's being naughty and who's being nice.
One of his friends actually said, well, I just thought everyone had an elf. And so we're a little bit peer pressured into it. But I think it's a testament. It just speaks to how much of a Christmas tradition it has become.
20 years ago in Marietta, Georgia, Shanda Bell and her family created the new tradition Elf on the Shelf that has since cemented itself into Christmas lore.
I was sitting with my mom having tea one day, and I looked up and I saw our elf that we grew up with sitting on a shelf. And I said, Mom, we should write a story about our elf.
That idea led them into the Santaverse, creating stories of Santa's North Pole for books, animated series, and games. Their impact can be seen through the troves of letters children mail in during Christmas.
So some of them are letters to kids from Santa Claus. Some of them are from schools. This one asks us to please don't cancel Christmas. But it says you bring joy to our world, right? And so I can't imagine anything more special than that.
In the decades ahead, Bell hopes to bring more joy to families through their stories without losing sight of the original magic that helped them win the hearts of many.
We take that with a lot of responsibility. We understand that we're the voice of Santa Claus for an entire generation of families.
All right, you want to go look at him? Hey, Doodles?
In the end, there's no greater joy for a parent than seeing their children happy on Christmas.
When they come running in our room and say, we found the elf, Doodles is here, Doodles is there. They've just really enjoyed it, and I think it definitely will become a tradition in our house. We'll have Doodles back next year and beyond.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Well, we are getting ready for a very, very wet and windy Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Flood watches, wind advisories in effect. We're going to have travel delays, a very high likelihood of that. And there's a flood risk as well. We'll see an inch or two of rain in the city, but areas to the north are going to be at greater risk here. So the flood risk is even more heightened up to parts of Ventura County and Los Angeles County as well. Showers will be with us tonight, though. 63. Get a little more specifically, we can see that we're going to be dealing with mainly fewer showers up into Borrego Springs, but the bulk of the area will continue to face off and on rain. Yes, we are into the rain. It started earlier today, but this is going to be ramping up on Christmas Eve, especially late in the day. That's when the rain is going to become a bit more persistent, a bit heavier, and soaking rain will be with us. Borrego Springs 63. Closer to 70 degrees into San Diego, and we've got that atmospheric river event, but also a contribution of subtropical moisture lifting north. So there's this moisture flux and convergence in the area that's leading to a more heightened risk of flooding. So we're going to have some risk of flooding, but the greatest risk is going to be to our north, up into areas like Pacific Palisades. Some of these neighborhoods have actually been evacuated until Christmas night at 11 p.m. by Los Angeles City Emergency Management in advance of the risk of these debris flows from the burn scar areas from the fires of 11.5 months ago. Flood watch for us locally, though, from LA County all the way down to Orange and San Diego counties. And also we have wind advisories until 10 p.m. Wednesday evening. A very windy one for Santa. He'll be just fine, though. He can travel in all kinds of conditions. We do have wind advisories locally. High surf advisory as well. Be careful out there. Those waves are going to be crashing into the beginning of the weekend as well. So a very stormy stretch. This series of storms has been pushing a little farther south, kind of leveraging its way into more of Southern California. The rain increasingly heavy late Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day. We're in it in a big way here. Soaking rain. The flood threat's going to begin to slide up here as we continue to see just the cumulative effect of that rain, leading to river and stream rises. So locally, there we are with 1 to 2 inches of rain in San Diego. Orange County, 2 to 4 inches of rain. Into Los Angeles, 4 to 8 inches over about 3.5 days here. And then some of the mountains to the north, parts of the transverse range of mountains, 8 to 12 inches of rain. Big problems there in the burn scar areas. The storm will shift inland late this week, Friday into Saturday. And that's going to eventually bring a bit of a decrease in rainfall. But here we are. So Christmas Eve morning, heaviest rain, Los Angeles and Orange County. We're going to see some of this up into San Diego, northern ends of the county, and then pushing farther south through the afternoon. Moving ahead to Christmas Day. Here we are, Christmas Day. Another situation with the heaviest rain northwest of us, but overall, another stripe of showers will kind of impinge upon our area late Thursday night into Friday. Some showers off and on. You'll notice that the coastal forecast, very, very wet Wednesday, plus Christmas Day. Showers linger Friday, Saturday and Sunday, thankfully drier. Into the inland areas, soaking rain Christmas Eve, occasional rain Christmas Day, showers on Friday, trending drier for the weekend. Into the mountains we go, just mild enough that most of this is going to be rain as opposed to snow, decreasing in intensity into Friday, and the weekend looks drier. And the desert, same story. Heaviest rain on Christmas Day for the deserts, and Friday cloudy and cooler, just drying out a little more abruptly there. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Jeff Cornish for KPBS News.
Well, you have 2 weeks left of free parking in Balboa Park, so KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando suggests checking out the provocative and delightful Alfredo Castañeda Beyond Surrealism exhibit at the San Diego Museum of Art.
Enter the world and imagination of Alfredo Castañeda.
The Surrealist movement prioritized getting into the subconscious and exploring the importance of dreams separated from rational thought, rational life. You find unexpected juxtapositions, putting things together that don't necessarily make sense, but might evoke a response in the viewer, sometimes thought-provoking, sometimes comic, sometimes very deep and disturbing.
The San Diego Museum of Art is hosting the first U.S. museum retrospective of Mexican artist Alfredo Castañeda.
Seeing all of his works together, we get to see a journey over 5 decades of his work, from 1960 until his death in 2010.
Michael Brown, senior curator of European art, oversaw the installation.
Seeing something in the original is an experience that is unparalleled. In fact, we had the install team, while we were putting these paintings up, the technical expertise of Castañeda, as they were physically hanging these paintings, they could be very close to the paint surface, which allowed them to appreciate the technical expertise and the wonder of the works of art.
The texture of Castañeda's brushstrokes and the intricate patterns hidden within what first appears to be a solid color can only fully be appreciated in person.
This painting is called Enter Through the Opening, and if you look up close too, you'll see that the artist in this gold area, he has used a tool to create these rosette patterns.
Castañeda, following in the tradition of Frida Kahlo, often inserts himself into his work, serving as an emotional guide and a wry commentator.
This painting is called Waiting to Leave, and it was painted during the last year of the artist's life. The idea of crossing the river Styx at the end of one's life and safe passage being earned through the offering of a gold coin to the pilot of the boat that would go across the river Styx. When we look up close to the painting, we see that the artist is wearing a signet ring with a circular gold coin, we imagine he is awaiting his passage across the river Styx.
Castaneda reveals a keen sense of introspection paired with delightful whimsy as he explores themes of migration, family histories, and family separation.
There's an imaginary sepia-toned photograph of a family. Each of the family members looks a lot like the artist himself. And so he and his family had moved from their native Mexico to Spain.
I was immediately drawn to a painting titled No.
This was really an answer to a question as to whether or not the painting was finished. The painting wasn't finished until he wrote No. And it really is one of the most modernist type things in the show, where he ultimately breaks the fourth wall with the audience.
As you look at the paintings, you start to feel Castaneda slyly smiling at you like he has a secret he's daring you to uncover. While the themes may be dark, there always seems to be joy in the art. The museum wants to encourage people to explore the art by hanging out around a table like Castaneda used to do.
This idea of the sobremesa, or the chat around the table, where anything goes. You can talk about anything. It's a very welcoming atmosphere. We have set up, our community engagement team has set up a space for just this type of discussion, reflection.
You can reflect on Alfredo Castaneda, Beyond Surrealism, through March 1st at the San Diego Museum of Art in Balboa Park. Beth Hacamando, KPBS News.
You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Previs Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.